Okay, let's dive into something really interesting today. We've pulled together some source material from an English learning podcast. I know, maybe a little unexpected for us, but honestly, the insights are gold.
Yeah. What's the focus?
It zeroes in on a feeling pretty much everyone experiences at some point. That feeling of being, well, lost in life.
Ah, okay. Yeah, very relatable. So our mission with this deep dive is to really unpack what this material tells us about that feeling. We're looking at how it suggests we can, express it naturally in English, trying to understand what the feeling itself might actually mean,
Right.
and maybe discovering some really practical ways to navigate it, all kind of distilled down specifically for you listening.
Yeah, precisely. It's about getting straight to the useful stuff from this particular source.
Good stuff.
So right off the bat, probably one of the most powerful takeaways from this material is just the fundamental idea that feeling lost, it's completely normal.
Yes. It really pushes back against that constant pressure to always have everything figured out, doesn't it?
Totally.
What's striking is how strongly it says, look, this feeling isn't some sign of failure or weakness. It just means you're human. And just reframing it like that feels, well, incredibly freeing, I think.
It really does. And once you sort of accept that normality, the material gives us the actual language to talk about it.
Ah, okay.
It offers several really natural ways people express this feeling in English.
Okay, like what? Give us some examples.
Well, they're the direct ones, like just saying, I don't know what I'm doing with my life.
Yeah, pretty blunt.
Or nothing feels meaningful anymore.
Yeah.
Gets right to the heart of it.
Right. Those are quite stark. What else?
And then it breaks down some specific phrases, adding a bit more definition.
Yeah.
For example, I feel stuck.
Okay, stuck. And how does the source define that?
It explains feeling stuck
Yeah.
as that sense that you just can't move forward,
Yeah.
Or make a change.
Right, like you're in quicksand or something.
Exactly. The example given is a classic. I've been in the same job for 5 years. I feel stuck, just rooted in place, unable to shift.
Yep, I think a lot of people will recognize that feeling. Okay, what's another one?
Another one is I feel like I'm just drifting.
Drifting. Okay. So that implies more movement, but maybe without purpose.
Precisely. Living without direction, just kind of floating along. The example they use is, since finishing university, I've just been drifting.
Ah, okay. Movement, but no, like intentional steering. Got it.
And this next one captures a particular kind of lostness. I'm going through the motions.
Ooh, yeah. That sounds draining.
It does. That phrase describes doing things just out of obligation or habit, without any genuine feeling or passion behind them.
Just ticking boxes.
Yeah. The materials example is, every day feels the same. I'm just going through the motions. You're doing the actions, but your heart and mind aren't really in it.
Wow. Okay. So those phrases are a really useful toolkit for just articulating that whole internal state.
Definitely. Yeah. But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. This material suggests that maybe feeling lost isn't just a problem to be solved immediately. Maybe it's more like a signal.
A signal. Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, it uses a brief personal story as context. Someone working a job they didn't love, feeling tired all the time, feeling like they weren't learning or growing. Familiar story.
Asking that big question, is this it? Feeling confused and lost. And that experience, that discomfort, is presented as the signal itself.
Ah, I see. So the feeling is the signal. It's prompting them to pay attention.
Right. Instead of just trying to power through it or ignore it, the idea is that this lostness is maybe your inner self trying to tell you something important.
That's a powerful way to look at it. So if you're feeling this way, the question becomes, what might that signal be trying to tell you?
Exactly.
Okay. So if you start listening to that signal, does the material offer help with what comes next? Like vocabulary for thinking about it? It does. It provides some excellent vocabulary for that whole process of self-reflection and maybe thinking about change.
Okay, cool. Like what?
Like the phrase to reevaluate.
Reevaluate. Makes sense.
Defined simply as thinking again about your life choices.
Yeah.
Maybe in light of the signal you've noticed. The example is straightforward. I've been reevaluating my goals lately.
A very natural thing to do when you feel a bit lost. Okay, what else?
Then there's defined your purpose.
Ah, the big one. Purpose.
Yeah, but the material frames it not necessarily as finding some grand singular destiny,
Yeah.
but more about discovering what truly matters to you personally.
Okay, that's a bit less intimidating.
Right. As the example puts it, I'm trying to find my purpose in life. It's a process.
Got it. Any other phrases for this stage?
Yes, one that really captures being on the brink of a change is to be at a crossroads.
Crossroads, yeah, that's a classic metaphor.
Exactly. A point in life where you face a significant decision, different paths opening up. The example highlights it well. I feel like I'm at a crossroads in my career.
Makes perfect sense. That moment of choice.
And finally, a more dramatic one, perhaps, to reinvent yourself.
Ooh, okay. Reinvent sounds like a big shift.
It implies a significant change, yeah, to who you are or how you live, almost creating a new version of yourself. The material uses the example, after I lost my job, I decided to reinvent myself.
Okay, so these phrases, reevaluate, find your purpose, crossroads, reinvent, they're really useful for describing that internal process of seeking direction, right?
Absolutely. But the material doesn't just stop at language. It also offers 5 concrete strategies for actually navigating this state of feeling lost.
Practical steps. Even better. And they come with useful expressions, too.
They do, yeah. Strategy number 1, slow down.
Slow down. Simple, but probably hard to do.
Right. The advice is simple but powerful. Take time to unplug, maybe go for a walk. Try journaling. Just create some space.
Okay, just breathe. And the phrase for that?
The phrase is, I'm taking a step back to clear my head. Perfectly describes that intentional pause.
Nice. Okay, strategy 2.
Strategy 2 is about asking better questions.
Better questions. How so?
Instead of getting totally overwhelmed by the massive, maybe unanswerable question, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
The material suggests shifting to smaller, more actionable questions.
Like,
what excites me? Or what small action can I take today? Or even, what would I do if I wasn't afraid?
Okay. Breaking it down, making it more manageable and less terrifying.
Exactly. And the phrase linked to this strategy is, I'm trying to figure things out. It acknowledges the process without demanding, an immediate solution.
Trying to figure things out. Yeah, that feels honest. Okay, number 3.
Strategy 3 builds right on that. It focuses on taking small actions.
Small actions.
Yeah.
Right, because you don't need the whole master plan figured out.
Precisely. Just start with one small step. Maybe take one online course, learn one new skill, talk to one new person, anything to get moving.
Just generating a little forward momentum, however slight.
Yep. And the phrase here is, I'm taking it one step at a time. It's all about progress, not suddenly having all the answers.
One step at a time. Good one. Strategy 4.
Strategy 4 is about connection. Talk to someone.
Don't go it alone.
Right. And the emphasis isn't necessarily on finding someone with all the answers, but on finding a friend, a coach, a teacher, someone who will really listen. The connection itself is the key thing.
Finding that empathetic ear, that support.
Exactly. The expression for this is, I opened up to someone I trust. It really highlights that vulnerability and the importance of connection.
Yeah, that's crucial. Okay, what's the final one? Strategy 5.
The final strategy, number 5, is accept the season you're in.
Accept the season. What does that mean?
This material uses a really beautiful metaphor of life having seasons, like nature.
Okay.
And sometimes, it suggests, you might be in a winter season, which isn't about barrenness, but more about pause, rest, maybe slow internal growth happening beneath the surface, and that it's okay to be there.
So giving yourself permission to not be constantly striving or producing, to just be in that quieter phase.
Exactly. Giving yourself that permission. And the phrase that embodies this acceptance is, I'm learning to be okay with not having all the answers.
Wow. I'm learning to be okay with not having all the answers. That's actually a really powerful statement of self-compassion, isn't it?
It really is.
And you mentioned this source material even includes like a practice dialogue.
Yeah, just briefly, it does include one showing how these very phrases and ideas can be used in a real conversation. Kind of brings the language to life, makes it practical.
That's helpful. Okay, so wrapping this up then. What are the big takeaways from this deep dive into the material?
Well, I think first and foremost, it makes it really clear. Feeling lost is a widely shared, totally human experience.
Right. Not weird, not a failure. And crucially, it can be viewed not just as a problem, but as a potentially valuable signal.
Yeah, a signal pointing towards maybe a need for change or some reflection.
And we've pulled out some incredibly useful language from this source, both for describing that feeling whether you feel stuck or like you're drifting or just going through the motions.
Right.
And also for talking about that process of seeking direction, like reevaluating or feeling like you're at a crossroads.
And we covered those 5 really practical strategies the material offers.
Yeah, the actionable stuff.
From slowing down and asking better questions to taking those small steps, connecting with others, and finally, accepting the season you're in.
So ultimately, the material seems to echo this idea that feeling lost isn't typically an ending, is it?
No, not at all. It's often presented more like a beginning, a sign that you actually care about your life and maybe want more from it.
Yeah, that's a hopeful way to frame it. It really makes you think. How might simply viewing this feeling, this lostness, not as a problem you have to fix right now, but as a signal you need to listen to? How might that fundamentally shift your perspective on where you find yourself today?
That's a great question to leave people with, something to definitely consider.